Hello, and welcome back to the Casual Leader Podcast, the place where we unpack the real side of leadership, scaling, and building things without burning your life to the ground. I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about something that's impossible to ignore these days. Whether you're excited about it, terrified about it, or just exhausted about the noise of it. That's right, AI. But don't click away just yet. No. Please stay with me. I'm not here to tell you that robots are coming for your job, or I want to sell you a course on how to 10x your productivity with ChatGPT. I'm definitely not here to do any of those. And I'm definitely not here to show you some screenshots of how I build $1 million business in 45 minutes using prompts. No, we're not here for that. What I am here to talk about, though, is something I've experienced firsthand. And I think a lot of you have too, even if you haven't fully named it yet. The way we build has fundamentally changed, and not in a hypey way. That's not it. Not the future is here type of way. It changed in a quiet and practical wait, did I just do that in 20 minutes? What? It took me 3 days before type of way. And that shift, the real tangible shift, is what I really want to dig in today. Because if you're a founder, a leader, or someone thinking about starting something, you're no longer building alone. Whether you realize it or not, you now have access to something that acts a lot like a co founder. One that doesn't sleep, doesn't need equity, PTO, or pep talks. So let's get into it. Now, before we go any further, let's do what we always do on this podcast. Let's call out the BS. Because the AI conversation online has become absolutely unbearable. I'm sure you've seen it. I built a SaaS in a weekend using AI. AI replaced my entire team. Here's how I made 100K with one prompt. I made AI my CTO. And look, some of that might be partially true, but most of it is either wildly exaggerated, missing critical context, designed to sell you something, or just plain fiction. It's the same smoke and mirrors that we talked about in last week's episode, just a shiny new AI wrapper. Here's what they don't tell you that the SaaS built in a weekend probably doesn't work properly, has no customers, and will be abandoned in about a month or two. That AI replaced my team usually means I fired people and now I'm drowning, but I don't want to admit it. That 100K from one prompt conveniently leaves out the decade of experience, knowledge, and expertise, an existing audience, and 75 failed attempts before that one thing worked. So let's just get this out of the way. AI is not magic. It's not going to build your business for you. It's not going to replace thinking, deciding, or leading. But it is a force multiplier, which is something significant. And if you want to ignore it because the hype is annoying, you're actually making a mistake. Here's something I hear all the time. I'm not technical, so AI is not really for me. I don't know how to code, so I can't use these tools properly. I'll wait until there's a more user friendly way of building things. And I get it. For someone that's technical like me, it kind of feels like an unfair advantage. But here's the reality in 2026 as we stand. If you can write an email, you can use AI. If you can explain a problem to a colleague, you can use AI. If you think clearly about what you need and what you want, you can use AI. The barrier is not technical anymore. The barrier is mindset, curiosity, trying things and seeing what happens. It's the belief that this isn't for you. It's the intimidating factor. It's not knowing where to start. So that leads to not starting at all. And meanwhile, the person next to you, who, by the way, isn't smarter, isn't more experienced, isn't more technical, or maybe they are, but not by that much, chances are, is using AI. They're drafting their strategy documents, they're analyzing their customer feedback, they're brainstorming their product ideas, they're debugging their processes, they're building their investor deck. Not because they're geniuses, but because they just started using it in the first place. All right, let's get specific. Because I'm not interested in the vague AI changes everything statements, here's what I've seen actually shifting in my work and in the founders and leaders I talk to and work with. Number one is planning. Remember when planning meant staring at the blank document for 2 hours and be like, where do I start? Then giving up and scrolling on social media. Now you can dump your messy thoughts on an AI and ask it to structure it. Then, suddenly you have a starting point. Not a perfect plan, but a starting point, which is often what you need. AI does not do the planning for you, but it thinks with you, which brings me to the next point. Number two, brainstorming. And this is actually a huge one, especially for solo founders. They used to be stuck in their own little heads. No team to bounce off ideas, no co founder saying, should we try this instead? Now you can actually have that conversation out loud or in writing at 2 a.m. if you want. You can say, here's my problem. Here are 3 ideas that I've had. What am I missing? What would you push back on? And you'll get something back. Not always brilliant, not always perfect, sometimes annoying, but often useful and sometimes genuinely surprising. And if one AI is not helpful, there's always another one, one click away. I often bounce between ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and see which one comes up with the best idea, or even like from their stupid little answer, I just get like another idea. So it's just a nice way of brainstorming. Number three, strategy. AI is surprisingly good at helping you pressure test your thinking. You can ask it, argue the opposite side of my decision, be the devil's advocate, identify blind spots in my go to market strategy, simulate how a customer might react to my offer, compare my approach to what's worked in similar industries, or run a competitor analysis for me. Now, it's not a strategist, but it's a pretty decent sparring partner. Number four, analyzing data. This actually used to require so much time, a team, and an advanced degree. Now you can upload a spreadsheet and say, what's interesting here? What should I pay attention to? What questions should I be asking? What are the red flags? Or showcase the highs and lows. I actually used it for sentiment analysis as well for customer feedback. And I might say it did a pretty good job considering we're talking about feelings and sentiment through an AI lens. And it will also surface patterns that maybe you missed. Again, not perfect. You still need to make the call and you need to double check. But the raw analysis that used to take days, now it's minutes. Number five, operating. This is a quiet one, the one that people don't really talk about it as much. AI changes how you run things day to day. Writing SOPs, easy. Drafting comms, summarizing meetings, preparing for reviews, creating templates, building workflows, all the operational glue that used to eat a lot of the time, you can now move through it faster and with less friction, which means more time for the actual work, the thinking, the leading, the building. Number six, and my personal favorite, speed. Nothing beats the speed at which you can build things with an AI sidekick. Me and my co founder for another business are currently building Alpi in the background. And for some of us that have the knowledge, the speed at which you can deliver code is just remarkable. I'm not saying it's perfect because Claude code is sometimes a gaslighter and a liar. And I have to keep checking its work and ask for correction. But it would have taken us at least 5x in terms of more time spent to get the progress we have today. You definitely need to have knowledge matter expertise. You definitely still need to know what to ask for, what to look at. And 100%, you need to have the experience behind it. But it can make a world of a difference. It just allows us founder to move faster, test things faster, adjust and optimize faster. So here's the reframe I want to offer to you. Stop thinking of AI as a tool you use and start thinking of it as your co-founder, your collaborator, the person that you work with. Saying person loosely. A force multiplier, a co-founder that is always available, has a broad knowledge across domains, even if it's not always deep, doesn't get tired, offended, or political, gives you a first draft to react instead of a blank page, asks clarifying questions when you're being vague, and at least it tries to help in any way it can. Now, does it replace the human co founders, advisors, or team members? Absolutely not. It doesn't have skin in the game, if you know what I mean. It doesn't have the lived experience. It can't make the final call on hard decisions for you. It doesn't know your context the way a real partner or person does. But for founders who are building solo or leaders who feel like they're always thinking alone, this is a genuine shift. You don't have to figure everything out in your own head anymore. You have something to think with. And that's actually a very big deal, if you ask me. Two heads are better than one, I always say, even if it's an AI one. Now, let's move on to the real questions. This is where I want to land. The question isn't, is AI useful? Because obviously it is. Even if sometimes it has amnesia and makes up numbers and facts, it just, it's a fugazi. But the question is, why aren't you using it more? And I really think for most people, the honest answers comes from I don't know where to start. I tried it once and it felt awkward, or it didn't really work the way I expected it, or I'm not sure I'm doing it right, or I don't trust it and it's fair. It feels like cheating somehow. I heard that answer more than one time. Let's just address that last one quickly. Using AI is not cheating. Using Google is not cheating. Using a calculator instead of doing math in your head or by hand isn't cheating. This is a tool, a powerful one. And learning how to use it well is now a core skill. Learning how to work with it instead of against it, writing clearly, communicating clearly, and managing your time clearly with it, that's something that's going to be one of the most needed requirements moving forward. If you're not building that skill, you're actively choosing to operate at a disadvantage. And look, I am not saying you need to become an AI expert. I'm not saying you need to spend hours optimizing your prompts or creating your own AI because, that's expensive and complicated. We're not going to get into it. But what I am saying is start using it regularly for real work, because the gap between people who integrate AI in their workflow and day to day and people who don't is only going to get wider and wider and wider very fast. In a few more years, that gap will be so clearly visible. So jump on while you can still catch up. So let's talk about where to start. If you're not sure where to begin, here's what I'd suggest. This week, pick one task, just one, that you do regularly that involves either writing, thinking through a problem, analyzing docs or data, preparing for a presentation, and try to do one of those things with AI. I am not asking to use AI to do it for you, but you create and do your task in collaboration with an AI of your choice. Talk to it like it's a colleague, explain the context. I really find it super useful when I have to put my thoughts in a very clear order when I ask for something when I work with an AI, because it actually makes me realize that I really need to flesh out my thoughts before I actually share it with you to gain the most out of it. So ask it to help you think. Push back on what it gives you and iterate. See what happens. Give it a try. You'll probably be surprised at how useful it is. And once you get past the awkwardness, I'm 100% sure you're going to always use it. Okay, so let's wrap up. We're in a different era now, not because AI is magic, because it isn't, not because the hype is real, most of it isn't, but because the practical day to day reality of building a business has shifted. You can plan faster, brainstorm without a team, pressure test your strategy, analyze data without a data team in minutes, operate with less friction. You are not building alone anymore, even if you're the only human in the room. That's the AI co founder era. Not robots taking over or taking our jobs, just a very capable thinking partner that's available whenever you need it and ready to be part of the team, whatever team you choose. That can be operations, strategy, data, marketing, whatever you want. And if you're a founder, a leader, or someone thinking about to start something in this new year, ignoring that is leaving a massive, massive advantage on the table. So, your challenge for this week, pick one task, try it with AI, see what happens. Don't overthink it. Don't over optimize it. Just start because, like we said in last week's episode, everything starts with a start. All right, that's it. That's a wrap. If you loved or hated this episode, let us know in the comments below. We're here for both. Let's get that conversation started. Don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss any of the upcoming episodes. We have a ton of interesting subjects coming up. Plus, join our community on our website, thecasualleader.com, to keep the leadership vibes going and connect with fellow casual leaders just like you. For any resources, toolkit, and guides, feel free to check out our website again. And until next time, keep being you authentically, lead clearly, build smarter, and remember, everything starts with you. Start casual, keep going, keep growing. Bye!